Mr. Khattar, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, 2012 has been a mixed year for auto companies. Auto demand was strong, but the sale patterns have been rather volatile.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Would you like to respond to my comment? My comment is that 2012, or my question rather, is that 2012 has been a volatile year for auto companies. High interest rates, increased competition, for sure had an impact on the passenger spending.
I think besides this, the very important influence has been distortion in price of petrol and diesel. If you look at the last 6-8 months, you'll find the growth has not been enough, but the manufacturers are holding stock of petrol cars, whereas there was a waiting list for diesel. You know, I keep on saying that in 2010, the difference between petrol and diesel was only 9 to 10 rupees, which had gone up to 25 rupees. So when you look at the sale figures, yes, they were affected, but they were largely because the influence of diesel was there and the manufacturers didn't have enough diesel cars to supply to the customers. Even 50% of the waiting list of diesel was to convert it into petrol, the scenario would have been different. Now, I think besides other things, this was also an important aspect which has affected the automobile industry.
So,
right. So, Mr. Khattar, I mean, the RBI has hinted a rate cut early next year. Do you think this move is going to be enough to boost volumes for autos, especially those operating in the small car segment?
You see, small car segment, again, the petrol price would be relevant. The rate of interest does matter, but if it is going to be only 25 or 50 basis point, I don't think there will be so much of effect that we people are thinking it would be. More importantly, you'll also see that as we go forward, the base of last year was pretty high. And when the base is high, you may not be able to see much of the growth. Having said that, I think purchasing of cars in India is not purely rate of interest, it's the entire environment. You know, 1/3 of the cars are bought by first-time buyers. Another 1/3 replace a car. Another 1/3 add another. I mean, by and large, that is a percentage. Now, even if 10% of the last two categories were to hold on and watch, the car market gets affected. So coming back to your point, rate of interest will make a very slight difference, but more important is the general environment, the how the economy grows, what is the sentiment about, and how does a customer feel on the whole, so that it's an aspiration, all that sort of a thing. So if he is feeling depressed, the jobs are going, or new jobs are not getting created, the salaries are not going to increase so much, all that makes a difference also.
Right. So, Jagdish, if the Indian economy is growing at about 6%, let's say between 5.5% to 6%, do you expect the car sales to grow in early double digits?
You see, usually the thumb rule is that whatever be the rate of economy, the car industry will grow 1.4 to 1.5% of the same. So if you are going to grow at 5.5-6%, the car industry should grow 8 to 9%. High will be a double digit. But as we go along, if other factors also come into the picture, you see, also let's keep in mind, there are a number of customers. It's not that the country doesn't have customers. There are people who are willing to buy, who have been holding back. But if suddenly the environment improves, so all the backlog of possible customers who didn't buy the cars will also come into the market. So that besides the rate of economy that we are talking about, even those backlog of the customers would also come into the market. So it remains to be seen how the whole scenario evolves as we go along. But by and large, the car industry grows at 1.5% of the GDP growth.
Mr. Khattar, despite the recent hike in both diesel cars as well as diesel fuel, there has been a strong demand for diesel cars. Do you think this trend is here to stay, irrespective of the fact that it's perhaps more economical to buy petrol cars?
You see, let me say that in the last few weeks you would have read in the papers, even among diesel cars, the reverse trend has started. All diesel cars are not selling. 6 months back, every manufacturer who had diesel cars was selling all the cars. Today, only few diesel models are in demand. Many others are available off the shelf. So the point that you have raised, the diesel market has now come to be around 50-55% of the total market. I don't see much change in this because it's a question of demand and supply. The capacity of diesel engines has to be there. Manufacturers have more petrol capacity available. So along with this would be the question of which are the new models coming into the market. I said let's keep in mind new models. If good models are introduced in the market by various manufacturers, suddenly there is keenness to buy those cars, and that helps in increasing the market. So diesel wise, I think we have reached 50-55%, which I think is much larger than what it was 25-30% couple of years back. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference as we go along, and more so because many customers know that this diesel price is not final. The gap as we go along is likely to be bridged. So I think the diesel market will remain where it is, and the petrol market should pick up if new models are coming into the market.
Right, so Jagdish, since the passenger car market is slowing down and last 2 or 3 years have been rather rewarding for passenger car companies, do you see a huge price war in the next 6 to 12 months in the passenger car market?
I think the price war is already there. If you look at what is happening in the last, even during festival season, the giveaways and the discounts or the promotion was not to the extent that was there. Manufacturers do announce increase in price, hoping that the customers will wake up and go and buy, but at the same time they are increasing their discounts. So coming back to your point, the price war is already there in terms of the giveaways that are being given. Yes, December is always very high because the model undergoes a change next year, so the dealers and the manufacturers would like to remove as much of inventory as possible, but the price war in the sense is already there, and if the market doesn't pick up again and the supply is there, certainly there will be far more giveaways to be done.
Understanding, do you think there is a strong inventory built up in the system, especially at the dealer level? So when we look at the dispatch numbers which come out every month, they look okay, but to your mind, is the reality totally different?
Yeah, listen, this is unfortunate in India that the figures that you see every month, they are dispatch figures. Till today, Government of India and the state governments have not been able to give us a retail figures. So the dispatch from a manufacturer depends upon the dealer stock. Now, having said that, I think there is an optimum level beyond which a dealer will also not stock, and a manufacturer will also not force him to increase his stock, because that affects the future production and the sales. So you would have seen that some manufacturers have started stopping their plants for a few days, and that is nothing else but to adjust the dealer inventory and the manufacturer's inventory. But today there is a stock across with the dealers and with the manufacturers, which is more or less at the optimum level, though in December they would like to clear it.
Mr. Khattar, really good chatting with you. Appreciate you taking the time out and joining us today on ET Now.